which is Cincinnati Milling, Broaching, Grinding Catalog. This has to be a sales book, looks like to me. It is a complete catalog from 1947, I think. Just nice little binder. It's in really great shape. And we've got all different machines in it that were current at that time. Dial types. Weight verticals. Those are a production machine. Two ml. That's my machine. Number 4 high power. Doing some nice little cuts there. Goes into the design details. Shows the side controls I did in my last video. It's a universal. Standard high powers. This be the specs on my machine. Although mine's in the 50s. Mine's actually got a 25 horse instead of a 20 on it. So it's a little bit different than this, but everything else is the same. This is the universals, verticals. Tells you what the machines came with and what optional attachments they had. Cute little 2 ml. The dual powers, which are the same as what my machine is, except they had a dual power electric motor in them that was capable of running 2 different horsepowers. It would run the low power that mine runs, 25 on the lower gearboxes, and then in the top speeds it could crank on up and pull 50 horse for really making the cutters romp. You can take a pretty nice hefty cut with 50 horse. Says here on the front they're cutting a 2-inch wide slot, 1.25 inches deep at 14.5 inches a minute with an 8-inch diameter carbide slotting cutter at 219 RPM. So that's a pretty good bite of steel there. See those big chips rolling out of there. Kind of look like flat washers, could be. The 2MI 2ML set up for die sinking. Got a little tracer attachment on it. An actual full-on tracer machine. A big Hydro-Tel tracing machine. Wonder if there's any of those left in existence. So that's kind of early. Not really a NC or CNC, but same kind of idea. You take a pattern, copy it out, and it would just duplicate it over again. A lot of big parts were made that way on one of these machines. There's a book on a monster here. 36-inch Hydro-Tels. 60 tapers. Go back here to the specs. They're doing some pattern work. Got a tracer attachment on this machine too. It's kind of like a boring mill there. A 36-120 here. Let's see. Just a mere 54,500 pound machine. So that's pretty good size unit, although it's only a 20 horse, but you could run some really big parts on it, I imagine. The different attachments for it. Another tracer machine. No pinch if there's any of those machines left out there. Yeah, big chip pan. Did a lot of testing on cutters, obviously. Always neat in these Cincinnati books. They really put a lot of science into the metal work. At the time, trying to build the machines capable of doing the best work that they could. There's another copy machine. 4 spindles making the same part off of a master pattern. Some interesting attachments there. Vices, toolmaker vise. Dividing heads. Whole section on vices. Spiral milling. This lets you cut a helical gear on a plane type machine instead of a universal where the bed will actually angle. And you can actually cut any angle on these. You can go beyond 45 degrees, whereas that's a max on a standard universal. Got that on my mill. Book on all the arbors, talks about the materials. Tool grinders, that's a neat section. Guy cutting a big shell mill there. Doing profiling with the grinder. Cutting a big slotting. Contour cutters, one of the neatest things about horizontals. Grinding all these different shapes and profiles in these to make, you know, special shapes. One pass, complex operations that you couldn't really do any other way on a manual machine too much. Got some fancy cutout jobs there. Multiple steps, almost like they're making crown molding. profile grinder. It's a really neat one. It's got a big optical deal. It's magnified so you can see what it's doing. Follow your trace, grind your patterns out. Projectiform grinding machine. It's an interesting dude. Big vertical broach. Those are some massive machines. Looking here, a big broach, 40 horse. 30, about 30,000 pounds for a broach there. Can pull 20,000 pounds through. Yeah, 25 horse motor. It's a beast. Nifty setup on automatic balancing on grinder wheels. Talks in detail how that's all done in here. Talks about their grinder bearings, which are not really bearings at all. They run on high pressure oil. Basically zero wear. And produces mirror finishes like that. Pretty slick. Read the paper in him. And again, they do a lot of testing here. Standard bearing setup. And this is the surface finish. We're reading out to the decimal points here. In the millionths. And that's with their oil film setup. Pretty much perfectly smooth. Doesn't have the same variants. So definitely a sales feature. They were pitching pretty hard. Shows all the different machines in here. Those. I think one of these is what I'm looking for. I'd like to put in my shop. Is a universal grinder, OD/ID capable. Probably a 14 by 48 would be ideal for me, I think. Centerless grinders. Blades for the grinders. Work rests. Automatic feeders for the cylindrical grinders, or for the centerless grinders. Right there. Alignment tool. Big balancer. It's a pretty good size grinding wheel there. So the ground up to 40-inch swing and 2,000 pound capacity. All different arbors, I guess, they use on their different grinders. An interesting machine for specialized surface hardening. So, heat treating some gears there. Looks like that was pretty common. use for this. So that way you can get a nice hard surface on your gear teeth without getting brittle gear teeth. Yep, looks like that's pretty popular. There's some spindles doing there. Starter ring gear. Again, doing some nice microscopy of these components, showing the heat treating results. Be interesting to know if there's one of those machines left out being used anywhere today. And look at that lovely analog board there. Quite a bit of stuff there for 1947, I reckon. (800 to 1800) temperature range, quench 90 to 150. And not a huge machine, 6,500 pounds. Just 8-inch gears, parts to 18 inches long. Interesting. And a little drill. Never seen one of those. It's a sideways radial arm drill, kind of. So, really neat book. Glad to have it to add to my library. Guess I need to get with Keith Rucker and see about getting this stuff uploaded onto the vintage machinery page. A lot of good info here for guys. I'd like to share with them, make this available for future generations to be able to look this stuff up. A lot of this old industrial information has disappeared over the years. It's just not out there, hard to find, hard to come by, and this is a good place to get it. So, thanks for watching.